Today I'm gonna show this coil here. The system is already running, so save me some time. This is a air core coil. It is one that I want myself. I have here a 36 volt rotor running. The system is running on 24 volt at, let's say, 925 milliamps. The RPM that the rotor is doing now is hope you guys can see that 1763 or 62. Gonna write that down. It is doing now 1762. That is open RPM with the coil in place. I'm gonna do first a 1 watt DC load and then a 5 watt. Gonna go now for a 1 watt. It is connected because this coil is a high voltage coil. I'm stepping it down to the transformer as always, rectifier, meters panel. The output is now 14.1 at, say, 80 milliamps, but the system is slowing down a little bit. As you can see, the voltage is now 13.9. So we're gonna give it some time to stabilize. And the voltage input went from 24 to 24.1, and the M draw went from 925 say to 975. The output voltage is still decreasing a little bit. Let's see now what the RPM is doing. RPM is now, hope you guys can see, there's a little bit of a glare, but anyway, 1672, 73. Yeah, they're stabilized at 1600. Let me try that again. It is still decreasing a little bit, so let's give it a little bit more time. The output voltage now 13.7 at, yeah, let's say 80 milliamps. Over here the voltage is the same, but the input amps went from, yeah, let's say it's 1 amp now. So that's around 75 milliamps more on the M draw. That's the light in the dark. It is pretty good as always. Let's check the RPM. RPM is now, oops, 1666. Yeah, pretty stable there. So with the 1 watt load, I have RPM 1666. So it has decreased. As you can see, I have before 1762 to 1666. That's almost 100 RPM. That is 94, if I am not mistaken, RPM less. Now I'm gonna go for the 5 watt load. There's a 5 watt load. The output is now 9.9 volt DC at 100 milliamps, which is almost 1 watt. And the input is still the same, 24.1 at more, let's say 1 amp. And let's check the RPM. RPM is now just a little bit lower, 1663 or 62. Let's give it some more time. Meanwhile, I'm gonna let you see the 5-watt load in the dark. There it is, even better light now, and you can clearly see my other pulse motor on the other side of my workbench. Let's check that RPM one more time. RPM is now 1662, 61, still the same, so 1661, and that is a decrease of 101 RPM. Now I'm gonna short the DC output. It is shorted, as you can see. Shorted milliamps is almost 200, but we can't do anything with that because we need volts and milliamps. Let's see what the RPM is doing. RPM is now 1682 and climbing, so let's give it some time. This one was a 1 watt, this one was a 5 watt RPM, and now I'm shorting it. Short is, so as you can see, the shorting this air core coil doesn't give me the maximum load on the coil. The 5 watt in this occasion have given me the maximum load and makes the system decrease to its lowest RPM, which is 101 RPM less than open, which is not bad at all. Voltage input is still the same, but as you can see, the milliamp output is a little bit less now. It's going, yeah, let's say 960 to 70, something like that. Let's check that RPM. RPM is now 1695. 1695. So that's about 67 RPM less. Not bad. Gonna unplug it over here. Now I'm gonna open the coil over here. Now the coil is not loaded, and I'm gonna let it speed up again. Yeah, I don't think I need to do that. It's basically the same. I'm gonna put it over here and shut the whole system down. It's completely off. It is receiving absolutely no input power at this point. The output is still the same, 100 milliamps at 9.9 and decreasing, of course. Everything is still the same on this large pulse motor. Still have my pulley ratio the same. Drive side is also the same. Only difference now, I'm using a large 36 pole rotor to test this coil over here. Next I'm gonna test the same coil with a rotor that is the same diameter, but that has 24 magnets on it, which are larger, and we'll see how that goes. As you can see, still a little bit of output while the system is slowing down. Okie dokie, that's about it. There's a small update on one of my coils. I do like the air core coils. I've tested a lot of cores, but I think air core is the way to go. At least that is my opinion. Because although this coil does make the system, when it's loaded, drops to 101 RPM less, it is still far better than a core coil. A coil with a core puts a lot of drag on the system. For me to get the same RPM, the system will be running around 1.5 amp and maybe 29 volts, which is far more input. So the ratio at this moment is better now than with a core. Anyway, all I'm saying are my personal opinions of what I'm seeing in my own pulse motor. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.